I want to talk to you about something that I'm going to call DeSantis University. DeSantis University. Now, that's not its official name. We're actually talking about a college called the New College of Florida. And the New College of Florida is a progressive left-wing institution. By the way, it's almost 2-to-1 female to male. It's got a huge so-called gay, or I guess they call themselves queer and trans community. Some of the professors are trans, openly so, and so on. And this doesn't, by the way, distinguish the New College of Florida, because there are other private liberal arts colleges that are like this. So in that sense, you can say you got a college in Florida that looks a lot like some of the worst colleges in Portland or in the West Coast or in the Northeast. But the difference, of course, is that the New College of Florida is a public institution. It's funded by taxpayer money. And it's cheap. It's only $7,000 a year, which means that a lot of people who can't afford to go to more pricey sort of progressive institutions can go here, and they do. Now, a lot of times when conservatives encounter these progressive institutions, we just inveigh against them. We decry them. We expose them. We describe what they're doing. I do a good bit of this on the podcast. And I also advocate for alternatives, but DeSantis figured out there is an alternative, and there is an alternative available to us politically, and that is, why just complain about this left-wing state-funded institution? Let's take it over. Let's actually run it our way. And that means not running out the leftists who are in the institution, but changing the composition of the faculty over time, changing the composition of the curriculum, changing the mission of the university. Why don't we take this hippie college, if you will, with all its diversity, equity, and inclusion, all its left-wing indoctrination, all its speech codes and enforced orthodoxy, and let's create a new orthodoxy. And so DeSantis began to appoint new members to the board. He started appointing political guys from his own team, academics like Mark Bauerlein, a very prominent English professor who used to teach for many years at Emory University, I believe, Chris Rufo. And he brought these guys onto the board, and they began to expose the deficiencies of this college. Number one, a whole bunch of students drop out before the end of their first year. Number two, a whole bunch of them get no jobs after they leave. Why? Because they're essentially majors in indoctrination. They spout left-wing garbage. Who wants to hire that? What kind of skills does that? How does that prepare you for the workforce? And three, the few guys coming out of this college that get jobs make a lousy income. In fact, the median salary is $32,000. Now, I'm not sneering at that salary, but I'm saying you could make that salary just by not going to college. Lots of people, in fact, who are welders and people who work on oil rigs make 3 times the salary, and they don't have a college education at all. So basically, this college in Florida, because it values spouting indoctrinated propaganda and activism over productive work, is producing these losers who are essentially a drain on society, many of them. So new board, new trustees, new majority, new vision. And I think over time, we're going to see also new faculty. One of the board members, I think, very coolly said, let's fire the entire faculty. Now, ordinarily, you can't fire faculty because some of them have tenure. They go, no, listen, but there is a way out. There's a loophole. And the loophole is, and by the way, this is a loophole exploited by the federal government, national emergency. If there's a national emergency due to COVID, the old rules go out the window and you take on so-called emergency powers. Well, the trustees can say this college is facing a financial emergency. It's not viable as an institution unless we do something drastic. And that means, professors, all of you are going to see a pink slip on your desk tomorrow morning. Start clearing out. And we're either going to rehire you based upon new considerations, new criteria, new interviews, a new process, or we're just just going to bring in a bunch of whole new people. So that proposal, somewhat radical, and maybe it needs to be done in a kind of a measured, well thought out way, hasn't really advanced very far. But what has advanced is that this new board at this college has already now outlawed the DEI bureaucracy. So no more diversity, equity, and inclusion. They are officially a school that is committed to what Rufo calls the principle of colorblind equality. So we're back to Martin Luther King here. We're going to be judging people on their merits and by the content of their character, both, but not by the color of their skin, not by their sex organs, not by their gender, not by their nocturnal habits. That's all out. The president of the college, Patricia Oker, a standard academic, feminist, left-wing type, has been given the boot. She's out. She's been replaced by DeSantis' first commissioner of education, Patricia Oker. And so good things are happening at this college. This is really why I call it the DeSantis University. And I think an important principle that's being illustrated by DeSantis here is that when you have power, don't just complain about stuff. Use your power and do something about it.